Hello and welcome guys to another video, and today we're going to be talking about a big mistake that a lot of new simulators make. I made it myself as well, and how you can overcome that because it costs you tons and tons of lap time. So what is the big mistake then? Well, quite simply, it's not applying the slow in, fast out technique. So what you want to do when tackling a corner is you want to slow down enough that you can be on the throttle at the apex or just after the apex to get a good exit and get a good amount of speed on the exit of the corner. But often when starting out, especially if you're driving with a ghost of a faster driver, is that you brake too late into the corner, because you're trying to match the braking of the other driver. But what happens is you brake too late and then you have a slow exit. Now, this is a problem that I had. I used to load in a ghost on time trial that was much quicker than me, and I could never understand why I seemed to be keeping up in the braking, but then he was just so much faster on the straight. And the mistake I was making is I was braking too late into the corner because I wasn't trail braking, which in return then meant that I was having slow straight line speed because I wasn't getting a good enough exit. So today we're going to have a look at some examples of this and then what we can do to fix that. So here is our first example, the second chicane at Monza. So this is how we want to approach the corner. As you see, we're braking early enough that we can match the apex on the first part of the corner, but then all we need is a tiny lift for the right hander and then we're full throttle on the exit. Now let's look at how not to do it and the mistake that happens here. So as you see on the entry of the corner, we actually brake later than what we did previously, but look at the delta compared to the lap we just did. See, we still make the apex, but when we get to the right hander we have to lift more to get the rotation. But then look at the delta. Even though we gain time on the entry, we then lose about 1/10 of a second on the exit and the small straight afterwards because we took too much speed into the corner. So that there is quite an obvious example of taking too much speed into the corner and then not being able to get on the throttle early enough to have a good exit. And the reason it's hard to pick up on is that, as you saw there, we were braking late. We were still making the apex of the corner, but we weren't getting a good enough exit speed and we're losing time on the exit. So when you're starting out, because you don't have that good lap to compare it to, you might not realise that that's what you're doing wrong. And this is a mistake that I made personally when I was starting in sim racing. So now we'll look at another example, and we're going to have a look at a Ascari because yes, it's Monza again, but this is another very good example of how taking a little bit too much speed into the corner really affects the exit and the straight line speed after. So this is how we want to attack the corner. So as you see, I'm braking early enough that I can have a late apex, and then I just need a slight lift for the right hander and then I'm full throttle for the left hander and the exit and get a good run out of the corner. Now let's look at how not to do it. So as you see, I look like I'm actually going quicker because as you see, I'm braking later, I'm using more of the track on the exit. But then look at my throttle inputs and the delta. As you see, I'm having to lift more for the right hander, which then means I'm not getting good enough exit on the left hander and on the straight afterwards. As you see, I'm 6/10 down by the time I get to the end of the straight. So again, there is another example of how just taking a little bit too much speed into a corner really affects your exit speed. Now, a good way to judge if you're taking too much speed into a corner is by, first of all, looking at some hot lap videos. So if you see on the hot lap, they're taking a lot more speed into the second part of the corner, or they're not lifting on the second part of the corner. They're going full throttle, but I'm having to lift. Well, that might be because you're taking too much speed into the first part of the corner. As you saw with the Ascari example there, when I took too much speed into the corner, it was affecting the next part of the corner because I was having to lift too much to get the rotation in the car. Whereas if I braked earlier for the first part, then I was able to get a good exit onto the next part of the corner. So remember this, slow in, fast out. So try focus on the exits of the corner. Now I hope this helped you out, guys. If you're interested in any more tips or some coaching, I just recently launched CA coaching in partnership with Box Motorsport along with Josh Allen. So if you're interested in some coaching, check out our Discord in the link below. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. See you again next time.